Guys, welcome back to Pal Game. So today I'm going to show you guys how to disassemble and reassemble your 4x4 speed cube. So let's go! So, on the 4x4 speed cubes, most of them, or I should say all of them besides the Rubik's brand of course, which isn't even a speed cube, have that little screw in the middle. What you need for this is your screwdriver, and how you're going to do this is you're going to unscrew each of the screws in the middle. And once you do that on each of them, you're going to go to do it for a bit on the yellow, then do it for a bit on another color. And then eventually your cube will just start falling apart. So all my screws are loose enough, so to start taking it apart, you can take each piece out individually. So I can take like a side piece out, or you can take them out all together, and it will eventually just fall apart like that. And then what's left will just be the core. So you can take your cube apart like this. And now the last thing left is the core right here. What I recommend doing here is sorting all the pieces out. So we have the little edge pieces, little edge connector, and the big edge connector. So sort these out and then sort the pieces out. I'd also recommend sorting each of the center pieces into their own individual category. So make sure to do that also. And sort all the pieces out, and I'll put a time lapse up right here. So now I have all of my pieces separated. Some of them are kind of off the camera. I'll move it around. You see, those are all the edges and the corners. Those are all my center caps. Those are my big edge connector pieces, and these are my small edge connector pieces. So let's get started in putting it back together. So first, what you're going to do is we're going to start with white. So what we're going to do is we're going to get all of the white edge pieces and corner pieces. So as you can see, I have all of mine right here, and then I have all of my corners right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to put them together like this, and we're going to make it look like the bottom. So the bottom will be white. And by the way, the cube I use for this is the Mailong 4x4. You can get that at Speed Cube Shop, and it is a non-magnetic cube. It's a bit easier with magnetic cubes because they stick together easier, but I'm using a non-magnetic one, so it's a bit harder. So now we're almost done putting it all together like that. It's a pretty simple process when you're putting the pieces together, and so this will be for the first layer of the cube, and once this is done, we'll start building up. And you don't need to put the center caps on the bottom. This is just for the edge and corner pieces, so make sure to not put the center caps on the bottom or the center pieces. And we have our last corner, which is right here. And now we are done with the first layer, and as you can see, it's all together like that. So now that you have most of your bottom layer put together, what we're going to do here is you're going to take your core, and as you can see, there's all those little caps jiggling around in there. So what I'd recommend doing here is getting some tape right here and taping it down until it is ready to come out, and then you won't have any problems with the pieces jiggling around. As you can see, I didn't do the best tape job, but it's fine. What I'd also recommend doing is taping each individual side of the pieces together like that, and getting your tape It's very important to do this if you have a non-magnetic cube, but if you have a magnetic cube, you should be just fine. But now it doesn't come apart like it would earlier. And you can just do that to all your sides. So now actually what you need to do is tape all of your sides except for one, because then you can put the core in that you already taped. But as you can see, I taped up this side, and then we can put the core in, and then you can put the other pieces in. Now what I'm doing here is while I'm putting the core in, I'm putting the other the big edge brackets in also, and making sure that this stays taped, which it won't for much longer. But anyway, I'm putting the edge brackets in, the big ones in there while I'm taping it back together. And then I just have the last one to put the edge bracket in, and I got it in there. And then lastly, we just have to, one bracket came out. But lastly, once you have all of your edge brackets in, you can put it back together just like this. And that's what it should look like. There's no need for the tape anymore because all of my cube is put back together. I mean, you could keep the tape on the bottom and then just make that the last step for putting, for once you got it all back put together. But you can take off the sides tape because now it's together and they won't be moving anywhere because they're being stopped by the edges, right, as you can see, like they can't go in anymore. So that's how then you take the tape off. Now if you wanted to, just to be safe, you could tape your bottom layer back together just to be safe, to make sure it doesn't come apart anymore. So if you wanted to, you could do that. But now the step we're going to do is put in these smaller edge brackets right here, just like that. And then what you gotta do is you gotta offset the core, and then you put each of the brackets in just like that, going around the cube. Now how I'm doing it to ensure that the cube won't come apart easily is I'm putting one of the pieces in, and then I'm going to put all of the pieces around it in like this, and then this will make it a lot easier to do it, so then the pieces won't fall out easily. So that's how I'm doing it, just to make it a bit easier so the pieces can't come out, and that would be my tip to you guys. So now I have the whole second layer done, and I use the trick where you put one piece in and then you fill out that side, and because that trick helped me a lot when I was doing it. Now what you have to do is put all of the brackets around the middle layer, so in the middle, and this is a somewhat easy part. First you put all of the big edge brackets in like this, and you only need 4 of them. And then you put all of the small ones in like this, and you need 8 small ones because each of them go around one, like 2 of them would go around one big one. So you put them in like I'm showing you guys. And keep in mind, all 4x4s that are speed cubes are mostly the same. So this tutorial could be for just about any 4x4 speed cube. Some of them are a bit different, but there's not too much difference in them. So just keep that in mind, because your cube might be a bit different from mine, but it's not too different, I wouldn't think. So now we just have to do 2 more. And we just do it just like this. and then you have this middle section done. Now make sure that you don't squeeze the bottom layer, because as you can see, the white is still there. So now we are going to build the third layer, and that is pretty simple. Just build it like you did for the first and second. Don't insert any of the edge brackets yet, because we'll be getting to that. But yeah, now we're doing the third layer, so insert all of the pieces in your third layer. And then you should have all of your pieces in the third layer in. Now what you're going to do is take your small edge brackets and put them in just like I am showing you, in each of those little holes where you can place them, because each small edge bracket goes, or each big edge bracket has two small edge brackets going around it, and then it should look like this when you are done. Now you need to start the top layer, so how you're going to do that is put your cube to the side, and then you will make one, let's see here, edge with your pieces, so it will look like this when you are done. And notice I'm squeezing these together because they don't have magnets. And then you're going to get your big edge bracket, put it in here, just like this, and then it should be in there, and then you're going to insert it into your core, just like this. And then you can just turn it to where it's supposed to go. And then you'll do this for each of the edges, but first, before we do that, you would want to take the tape off carefully because you put it on earlier. Now once you have the tape taken off, you need to carefully put your edge bracket like this with the thing pointing down, and you are going to insert it just like that right into the center of the big edge bracket. And that is a small edge bracket, and now we'll start doing the rest of it. Now we need to start the next part, and you need to get another edge like this. Get your edge bracket, and don't worry if you misplace edges, because of parity you can solve it easily. So if you accidentally misplace them, it's just fine. And we can put it in on the opposite side because that gives us more room. And then you move it around, and then before you place another edge bracket in, you need to take your center cap, and then you need to put it under the center thing carefully, and then you will move it around and put it in its spot just like that. Now you will need to put a small edge bracket, sorry, this thing came undone, in right here, and then it's good. Now you need to put a corner in, which would be this corner, and you will put it in right in here. You need to get another edge pair like this, put it in with its big bracket in like that. But then what you need to do is you need to put another centerpiece in right here, and you will just slide it around once you got it in till it's in right there, and then you'll put the small edge bracket in just like this, and then you'll have part of your top layer done. Now what you need to do is you need to take your last two center caps and put them in just like I am showing you. Try not to make yours fall in. If it does, it's just fine, because you can get it to come out using that way. And once they're in, they should stay stuck just like this, and then you're going to take another small bracket and put it in right like this. It helps if you do it this way because then it can just stay down, and you'll also have to put your last corner piece in like this. Oops. Actually, the other edge bracket came out, but you will need to put your corner piece in, and some people recommend doing it before you put your last bracket in. I probably recommend that also. If it gets in the middle, you can just shake it out and then just put it in like that. You need to get your last edge with the bracket in it like that, and you will put it in your cube. And if you guys know how to put a 3x3 cube back together or take it apart, you guys should know how to do this also. When putting the last bracket in, what I'd recommend doing is putting it like this, where you offset one of the pieces and then you just put it in, because then none of the small brackets can fall out, and then you can just simply like offset it to put it in, and then you can pull it apart a bit, and then eventually it'll just stick on in there like that. And be careful you don't squeeze it apart, because we'll have to tighten the settings later, but make sure you don't squeeze it apart, because then the whole thing will fall apart again. But that's how you put your last edge in. Now that you have all of your other layers done on the bottom, what you need to do here is obviously take the tape off, so we'll do that first. Once you have all of your tape taken off the top layer, what you need to do is now we're going to install all of the center pieces. So what you need to do is simply just slide it around till it gets in its spot, just like that. And then you're going to take the small edge bracket and put it in just like this, and you're going to put it in right in there. And then you're going to do it for the other side, and you're going to do this until you get to where you can't do it anymore. Like for example, in this spot, I put my piece in, and now I'd need to put the edges in, which is the green and white. So I'd need to put that in. So just do it until you have to put the last edge in, and I can put that in like that. And now I just have like one edge left. So first we'll put the corner in, and then we'll work from there. So we have the corner in. Now we need to put the brackets in. I gotta put one right here because that one fell out. Then I gotta put them both right here. Then I gotta put it like this, like I showed you before. Rotate it a bit so that the other brackets won't fall out. Put this one in right like this. And then need to make sure, just in case, that we have all of the edge brackets in. So I'm gonna check that real quick because you don't want to forget any edge brackets. So we have all of our edge brackets in except for the last one, which I have right here. And now we need to put the big edge bracket in like I showed you. Then what we're going to do is put it at the 45-degree angle like this, and we will put the last one in, just like I'm showing you. Now, if it comes out like that, you just have to put it like this, shake it out, and then you can put it back in like I am showing you. You can put it back in just like that. And then you put it at the 45-degree angle like this and put the last edge in. And then yours should be all done, but there is a couple steps after this just to make sure you did it the complete and fully right way. So once you have that in, your cube should be all good. So what you're going to do now is you're going to take the screwdriver that you had before, and the first step was to loosen it so you could take all the pieces out. Now we need to tighten it so the pieces don't start coming out again. So we're going to tighten each edge, or each screw. And then you might need to play around with them a bit. You might need to play around with them a bit because they're all at like different tensions. So you might need to play around with them a bit because as you can see, that one is very loose. So you gotta tighten them, and you gotta make sure you evenly tighten them on each of your sides. And then your cube should be good. Just keep tightening them until it is all back together mostly. Mine is still a bit loose because you don't want any of them to pop, so you have to tighten them in a bit more, and then you'll be done, and I'll report back to you guys once mine's all tightened. So now mine is mostly all tensioned up. A way you can tell to see if it's all tensioned is by putting your hands like this and pulling it apart, and then you go like that, and as you can see, that is making a bit of a weird noise, so I should tighten it up so it can hold better together, because what will happen is your brackets will come off if you make it a bit too loose, which has happened to me before. So you want to make it tighter so the brackets don't come off and your cube stays better together. And now as you can see, it's quite quick. If you want to, you can also lube the cube, which I have a video on how to do that. But now the cube should be quicker and it's all put back together like it should be. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and thank you for allowing me to teach you how to disassemble and assemble a 4x4 Rubik's Cube. You guys can do this, you can practice at it if you guys want to, but this really helps if you have a pop or if your cube just breaks apart, because then you know how to assemble it. So this is a good tip for you guys to do, and thank you for watching this video. Please consider hitting the subscribe button down in that corner, and you can check out our other stuff, because then once you subscribe, you can hit the bell, and then you'll get notified of whenever we come out with videos, which is amazing, because then you can be the first person to see it, and who doesn't want that? So please subscribe, and then you can see all of our other videos on how to do things with speed cubes. Thank you guys for watching. See you next time.